7:02.
Okay.
Bob Finuzzi has a work deadline. I'm not sure he's coming. He might try to listen in on the phone. And then I told him that I'm not coming.
I know he didn't. Did he email me? I didn't see that. Is that recent?
No, he texted me that he had a work deadline. I think he's just going to be absent. You know what I mean? Like the most he could do is listen in. And I told him I'm not going to be there. No, I don't think he knows. That's why he didn't say anything. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's fine. We're going to start the meeting right now.
Okay.
We do not have a quorum, but that's okay.
Right.
We will just table approval of minutes until next time.
Good thinking. Good minutes. I like them.
Perfect. Thank you. No changes or problems. So great.
Yep.
Since you're here, Karen, thank you for here. We'll move to chair's report. There we go. Thank you for the letter that you sent or wrote to the commissioner about the development.
On Tibbetts.
Yes.
Right.
That was great. That was great. So that got sent.
Yes. So that the idea was that the community board sent a letter and didn't get an answer. The letter was sent in November, I think 27th. It's too long, you know?
It with the...
Yeah. And then I gave all the attachments because maybe they couldn't figure out what was going on because it really was in the buildings department, all that stuff, you know? It took a while to gather it all. But we have to remember, we shouldn't send letters to the commissioner because they only have 1.5 people that can answer the letters.
Okay, so all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, but thank you. That's great. I feel like your memo summarizes everything on one page, lays it all out for them, and I hope that we get any response at all.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. Okay.
Did everybody see that?
Carol's here. Yeah, I don't know if everybody saw it. I know that we sent it to the community board.
Right, so I saw it. I mean, I printed it. I don't know if it was sent to everybody or not. I never know how that works for certain things. Maybe it was. But I guess we talked about it. We could always put it in here. What else is there? I have so many things here. No minutes, skipping that. Mostly.
Well, Carol's here. How many people are on the board?
So it's 3. So I mean, but Carol and Laura don't count toward quorum, but that's okay. Carol counts.
Oh,
She's here
I see.
easy.
Okay, right.
Preferably with video, Carol, if you can.
Yes, sir.
Much more friendly that way. Or at least, you know, you have something to stare at.
Hi, Carol.
But
Carol,
other things that were great, I think this is going through like already or now, yesterday, the Tibbetts Brook daylighting easements that I guess are going to be, you know, those ULURP things.
Oh, did you get that? Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, they said that said that there was going to be by like February 20th, those were going to go through. So that is moving forward, which everybody wants. So
by February 20th, the board has to vote? No, we already have February.
that was just when I think the things were going to be like actually put into
Ready.
the system.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Karen,
And so it was just like.
I'm sorry. Karen, when is the
tag meeting?
Brook tag meeting? Because we should have that.
That's at the end of January. I think it's let me look it up.
No, not January.
February.
I was like, you want to
So
announce?
you and Laura can't exist in the same space?
No.
Okay, so it's February 29th at 5:30, which is nice because then it'll be over by 6.
Daniel, did you get the invite to the to this meeting?
If it's advisory group, it's called the tag.
No.
Okay, we'll have to send it to
Okay,
you
so-
because now that
Oh, okay. I'll send it to him.
Would you, Karen? That would be great.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Carol, do you have it as, Carol, do you have it?
That's
I
how it
do
works.
not have it.
Okay, I'll send it to both of you. Please hold.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't get a link yet, but it's not gonna be crazy. They usually have this very bad thing. Okay, so I'm gonna forward it to,
Yeah, it's a save the date, and what it is DEP, Parks, or they give the update on the daylighting of Tibbetts Brook project. They take questions. They've had several of them. They keep the community informed. I think it's wonderful. They have maps and pictures of the plan, and it's time very well spent. So what's that date again, Karen?
February 29th. I'm gonna tell Tara to add them to the list now as we talk.
Oh, that's perfect.
I sent you the.
I'm
I
sure
saved the
Deb has
date.
it. She's on all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. I knew
Daniel
he's on all
Rowan,
the time.
and plus they have to add, they should make up things, Carol, Blake,
Mhm.
1, okay. New members. Please add to the list.
New ENS
New-
members.
Okay,
So old business, I don't know if there was any, I don't know how much old business there was. Jody last time was asking about progress on a DEP pump station project in Riverdale Park. Does anyone know, what's the context in that? What is that?
so,
There's a pump project on Palisades Avenue that's been going on now for like 4 or 5 years. And I don't actually know the status. Maybe we should ask David Gelman. I heard he showed up there and said he's from Community Board 8.
Bob,
wanted to
we're
report to
we're
the
being
board.
recorded.
so,
They are replacing, demolishing the old pumping station, building a new pumping station to meet their needs. And we can ask Effie for an update. The last update I got when I was chair of the board was, I don't remember when she said it was going to be completed, but she said Riverdale Park will absolutely be restored the way it was, and even improved, because they're working there. And if you like, Daniel, I could
Okay.
check in on that with
The
Effie.
Pumping station is the pump sewage.
Right, so we'll add that to the questions for Effie, basically.
Question,
It's just-
yes.
They
you
were
can
just
add-
asking for an
add that.
update,
Just an update
acting
on
like it's
the,
been something they've been waiting on for Con Ed for years,
Yeah.
but maybe now
right,
something more has happened.
right.
Like, I don't know, I don't think there's any other things to follow up on old business,
yeah,
because,
the complaint about the sanitation tickets is old business.
yes, but we are hopefully gonna get sanitation here next week, but right, that,
Next month, okay.
yeah,
And then the invitation, the agenda for that should go out to the people who were complaining, if we have their emails, if possible.
if we figure out who, yeah.
Or you can try to figure that out.
Carol, do you
Yeah,
know
but
who the
that's-
other, do you
Yeah,
know who
we
the
can go
other lady?
back to the meeting. It was someone then talked about it, and then you talked to them, Carol, remember?
I don't recall her name. I mean,
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm saying we can look on the.
It's probably in the minutes from whenever that was.
Right.
Well, no, it was last week. I didn't put her name in the minutes.
Yeah.
I just said a community member, because I didn't know if we were supposed to
Okay.
be listing people's like names and that.
yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. I was thinking we would ask the sanitation department to come in with a list of how many tickets did they give for, garbage on your street in Community Board
Right,
8,
is it,
and how many in that sector, to see if there was a larger amount.
and then
Yeah.
can they, could tell us if these were in responses to 311 complaints, or like how many 311 complaints
Well, that the
are they getting around
You
that?
should be able to ask them that
It's called the
also.
Hanson reports. I don't know what it's called now, but you get it from Sanitation DEP. You get it every month.
No, they haven't sent it, Bob. We don't get them
Okay, you're
anymore.
not sharing it. I used to do this to you. I used to, they would send
So
it
is that
out.
something that you can somehow
I can
pull?
yeah, I can see if I can pull that from them.
Yeah.
So the
I don't
thing
know what
is,
it
you-
was
Just,
now.
it was kind of like, it was in Kingsbridge. They were acting like it was around there that people are like
right,
targeting like homeowners
It
around
was
there.
called Hanson Report, because that was the name of the computer
Possibly,
system.
at least that's the accusation, is that they feel targeted, that someone's like reporting them for things that are not necessarily even a true violation. Just
Well,
in
they
order
felt
to get
harassed.
sanitation to come and issue a ticket.
Yeah, in that area, they've been harassed in the past.
Right. But of course, if sanitation arrives and there's not an actual violation, they shouldn't still write the ticket.
Right, but you can see a lot of times
Can't they just
that
close a
it's not
ticket like
from
it's
the
not? and-
homeowner, you know what I mean? The people, the
Right.
delivery drivers and, buses and things like that, they pull up and they're sitting there eating, and they open the door and they sweep all the garbage on the floor, and whoever house that's in front of, they're gonna get a ticket. You might have just swept up, you went inside to have a cup of coffee, and sanitation pulls up and says, oh, you know. But if they have any brains, they would see, this is not normal garbage, this is from somebody's car.
I thought there's a time limit though.
Maybe there is.
Well, they should tell us. I thought that there was a time limit. You had to have it swept by 11 o'clock or something like that. 11 a.m.
I know merchants have a time limit. I'm not sure
They
about,
said 8 o'clock every day
really, okay.
Oh,
in the morning.
well, that's kind of difficult, but,
Uh-huh. I
The
mean, if
snow-
you're working and you're, like, it's impossible.
Right.
Not everybody's 9 to 5, and I got a ticket actually last week
Oh,
regarding the snow. And I do want this ticket looked into because this guy popped out of nowhere and he just gave me a ticket. And when you look at my sidewalk, there's nothing on my sidewalk. There might have been where somebody knocked their boots to get like some snow off that was from the
That's not an
street.
unshoveled sidewalk, that's harassment. That's
And I'm
harassment.
like, he gave it to only me.
Well, so like
And I'm
that too, so did
confused.
someone report you? Was he just walking down the street?
No, he actually it looked like he pulled up in a wasn't even a sanitation vehicle. That's the thing. Usually it's a marked like Honda SUV or something, like one of the smaller vehicles. But this one was not marked, and he was not even wearing like a sanitation uniform. He put
What?
But he did put his name on the ticket, right? He has to put his name or something on the ticket to identify.
He has to put something on the ticket, but the thing that's frustrating with this particular ticket is that my sidewalk was clean. And I know sometimes people come from the street and they knock their shoes to get off the excess snow, which is the normal thing to do, because then you have no grip, right? But the only reason why I kind of want this looked into is because a few days before that snowstorm, I got a call when I was at work, somebody asking to buy my house. I said, no, we're not interested. Somebody called my mother as well. We're interested to buy your house. She said, no, we're not selling. And they cursed at her. They said, you're a mother effer, and hung up. And when I came home, she told me, can you believe the person called me and cursed at me today? I said, what? And then we got this ticket. So I'm like, wait a minute. I hope they didn't open up anything saying like, okay, well, just to be like vindictive, because I've seen it where we're getting tickets left and right. And I'm like, how are we getting tickets when we sweep? There's no way, unless somebody's calling it in and saying something. And for this, the first snowstorm, come on. It was
Well,
like
what time was the ticket? Because you have a certain amount of time from
You have
when
4
it stops
hours.
snowing.
You have 4 hours.
Even though
after
that
it
seems
ends.
unfair for people that like are at work.
Right.
If it stops snowing at 1 p.m. and you work till 5, you get a ticket because
This
you're
was
not
the
home
next
to
day.
sweep or to
This
shovel.
was
Well, you should be home, and you should be on some kind
But
of.
maybe you
assistance
can't. But maybe you
so that
can't
could do
take
it.
off that day.
Right. No, this was the following day. And
All
when
right,
I'm telling you, like,
send
by
us a
this time
copy.
the snow,
Send us a copy of the ticket.
oh, I will. I'm telling you, by this time it was like the snow started to melt, like, the next day was getting warm. There was nothing there. I'm going, wait a minute. And then I checked my cameras and I'm like, he just came up to our house. Like he drove right up, parked in the building that's next to me that I've told you that they can't rent. It's an empty, driveway. He parked right there, came out, walked up inside, up and down in front of my house and gave the ticket. And then he drove off. He didn't even like look at anybody else's property. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, there's other property around here. And I know some people that don't shovel. Believe me, my father has always told us you have to sweep 18 inches from your curb. You're responsible for, we know the drill. We know. So when he came out and just parked in, I just called it the abandoned building beside me, and then came out, wrote the ticket. And the patch that he did was like, you could tell somebody footsteps were kind of there. Like somebody knocked their boots and it was a little bit that got on the whole entire thing that was clean. So I was just.
But that's not a shoveling issue. That's the fact that you're not responsible for snow coming off the people's boots. The idea is for you to clean your walkway, which you did. That's
Yeah.
absurd, that's harassment, and then.
You email the office the ticket and like your address and what day it was, because then again, also can you look up that 311 if that was,
And then they
if
can
you
talk to
don't
the
possibly
supervisor,
somehow all from the
sanitation
same person?
supervisor, the district
Right, if
Yeah.
somebody
and
called it in,
find out
right.
who he is, and find out what his problem is. You know what I mean?
No,
Get him
I-
a pacifier or something, you know?
No, I think I told you guys before that when I did fight several, they had given me maybe 2 tickets at the same time and I fought them. And the judge himself realized that it was the same agent. He was like, wait a minute. Oh, this is the same agent that gave you the 2 tickets. I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, well, that doesn't seem right. He's like, that's kind of off. And I said, okay. And the minute he saw that it was the same he was like, all right, Miss Blake. He was like, that's it. So yeah, I think they look at that too to see if there's any type of harassment going on from like, and I know the agent that comes around. He says good morning to my mother, or if I'm there, he says good morning type of situation. So we know who they are, but this one guy, it was like an unmarked vehicle. It wasn't even the sanitation, green and white, SUV that you kind of see. And I didn't even recognize his uniform. Usually they're in like green. Like I was like, who is this? That I would have never known who it was
My
until.
ticket isn't gonna, because if he's out of uniform and he's not in a marked car, and all the things, this is, a BS thing. It's BS, and.
I just found it
certainly
strange.
fight it.
Absolutely.
Did you
He didn't
object
give
to it?
anybody else.
Carol, did you object to it?
Oh yeah, I already put in that. I'm not. Yeah.
Pictures and everything? Okay,
I'm gonna
all right.
fight it.
right, okay. All right, so let's get a copy of that and somebody in the office should tell the sanitation department what we're looking for when they come to visit with us.
Right. Yep.
We have enough.
Artie will do that.
We don't have a quorum.
No, but we don't need one.
No, we can't approve the minutes then.
We'll do it next month.
And what about the capital expense budget and what?
That's where we're at. So budget things, because,
Because I wanna do it while they're on the.
Exactly.
Well,
Well, and then
because
that's
they're
it, yeah.
The opinionated ones.
exactly. So
Kinda go
all
along
of
with
the,
crowd.
basically all of the DEP requests, they said contact agency directly, and we have done that, and we will probably hear and talk to them next month
Okay,
on what that means,
okay,
basically. So I feel like, great, because I don't know because either it means like, because if it means we need to do something else, or it means it's already happening, then we can cross those things off and not continue to ask them for it.
right,
So I feel
right,
like until we know that, like, let's see for each one, sort of.
right.
But
That's
we
why I
kind of
went, as
know
soon
ahead
as
of
I
time
looked
that
at it,
some of it might be.
yeah, as soon as I looked at it and I saw that the answers were the same, I was like, oh, let's just, organize this. Sorry.
Right. Where all of the sanitation requests are like, well, most of the sanitation requests are, sounds good, but we can't afford it. Basically, except for compost collection, because that's expanding to the whole city. So we no longer need to ask them or talk about that, or we can talk about it, but we don't need to ask for it. It's happening in October everywhere. We'll have it.
And Jody's not on the call, so we don't have to.
Bob, We're being recorded.
Yeah, I know, yeah, that's why I hate being on Zoom.
The compost, I love the compost.
No,
But,
I do too. I have my, I have my own.
I do have a question for them when they come next month, if, or when we talk to them, because it acts like in October, it will sync with the recycling day, though that is not the case now in our district. So I want to know, is that changing? And then when, and if they're going to communicate that at all. Because it's very confusing when you look, and you can look up, like, it says, like, when it's going to expand to the Bronx, and then it's like, it will be on your recycling day. And it's like, but what if you're currently having it picked up on Tuesdays?
Right.
Yeah.
So other than that, they're doing it,
Yeah.
so it's not a problem, it's happening. And everything else, although this Department of Sanitation supports your, you know, request due to fiscal constraints and availability of funds is uncertain.
Yeah.
So I feel like for those things, we keep them, we continue to ask
Yeah.
for the same things unless there's different things we want, but I feel like it's all,
But that's interesting because the thing about the waste collection, the waste, they gave them back to us, right? The baskets out on the street?
right, they're not bringing baskets back in now. They're keeping every waste basket. That isn't happening, but I guess they're saying they're not, I'm saying of our budget requests for next year,
Right,
all of the things, they were like, we would love to do that, but we don't have the funds. So they have the funds to keep all the trash cans, they just don't have the funds to do anything else.
okay.
You know, such as rehabilitate a garage or increase funding for sweeping streets around, you know, environmental justice designated areas. Things that we should keep asking for, but they're not gonna do right now,
Okay.
I think. I don't, you
I
know,
think-
all
I
of
think
these
you're
are-
right.
sound
Right.
fine. And, you know, so that's all good. And then what we can think about is just if there's anything else, or, you know, do we like, we could stack things, you know, make something more a higher priority, right? Are these things ranked, or do they just get them all on stack? Hi, Rob.
Sorry, I came here to move your corn.
Okay.
Well, then,
I don't have one.
we still don't have one. It's only 3 of us, technically.
I'm late because I have a work deadline I have to do
Okay.
tonight. I'll be up all night, but I want to make sure we can do something. We can.
We can.
Just only thing would be.
We're on the
we'll
budget.
approve Minutes.
We're discussing the budget.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh.
So where would we go ahead?
So
We're
we were just
almost
saying that
done.
we've already asked DEP, we're done, maybe, unless you have other things you want to ask, you know, for that they can't afford, and will tell us, sure, that sounds good if we had money.
Do we do the DEP or?
DEP, all of them contact us immediately and to talk. So we have contacted FE and we're gonna probably talk to them next month. Or we'll slowly, she's gonna get back because we asked her for each thing individually.
Okay. Is there anything that we need for daylight? Of daylight,
That should already be in the system
Cover
now.
that? Yeah, right. So it's, subject to the MTA agreement they strike.
or the easement of the continuation of daylighting? It
It doesn't go in our domain. Yes, it does. It goes to
so they need an easement starting at 230th, our border of 225th. So do
So
we need to
Bob-
put a capital
It's starting at
request?
No, Bob,
2:30.
that, we're doing the 2025. The capital budget items will go in later on, like March, April, May, to the new budget,
I'm sorry, this is responses to 2025. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
not new 2025.
not new,
I'm
right,
sorry.
right.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Not yet.
Okay.
We could think about that,
Okay,
certainly, because, right, no, that, they said the easement should be, the application should be certified this week.
Great.
And we had that number, they emailed us, we talked about that a little bit before.
Good. Okay.
So that's moving along, I think. I
And the
think that's
tag
fine.
meeting is next week.
Right, we were talking about everybody getting invited to that.
all right, so we're doing comments on 20.
We were just doing comments on the 2025 budget, preliminary budget register, which, right, we said all of the DEP ones said contact us.
Yeah, okay.
Many of which I think maybe because they're already, you know, they covered it, like
Okay.
Jerome Park Reservoir stuff, you know, maybe. Or at least they'll talk about it with us. They came seeing KG on. But yeah, for all of those right here, this is, if you want.
Yeah, I
Okay,
figured it out.
okay. Right, so for sanitation, don't need to, like, they are doing it, they're doing compost, that was the one thing. Everything else, they can't afford, so I feel like,
Well, they're not doing compost education, they're doing curbside.
across the whole city now.
Yeah,
In
but we're
October.
not doing it in compost education. There's no more compost project per se, which is community engagement. That has been
Right.
discontinued. We should,
Oh, no, it says currently funded and recommends its continued support.
this project,
This one, provide and expand community composting programs.
yeah, was Jody had said that was actually zeroed out.
Oh, because
and,
they right here recommends continued support.
I know.
All right, so that's
Um,
something to ask them next month.
Do they mean curbside, which is yes?
No, because that is this one down here,
There's
which is
another one.
expand organics collection program, and they say funded, recommends continued support. So they give the same response for those two.
Well, I'm bringing that up because, Jody Cologne, who created the compost project, did say that it was unfunded.
No, this says compost education.
Right, so,
And, so, okay, let's ask them about that, because they act like they recommend support. So we would like them to continue supporting it
yeah,
certainly in that case.
I'm so glad we made two separate.
Where everything else, clean streets stuff, which, we should
So
continue to ask
everything
for.
stays on the list. We
Yeah.
continue to request.
Yeah.
Expand organics collection, that is.
Right, other than that, yeah.
Good, that-
Right, and also expand electronics waste, right, we should continue to ask for because it's ridiculous. That's so difficult. Especially when there used to be, right, as this says, there used to be something where buildings used to be able to accept it. Even a building by me that has the locker that they used to collect the stuff in, and they just have like a bunch of junk piled in front of it now because it's not actually an electronics recycling site anymore.
They didn't take it away?
They left the bin, but I don't think anybody collects from it. I think people just pile the trash over there.
Yeah, I know, but I wanna get Jody's feedback right away.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't believe that there's anyone to pick it up, where they used to pick up from buildings 10 or more units.
Right.
Less than 10 units, whatever this is. You could take it to Staples or Best Buy, we'll take electronics. That's what I do.
Right.
No, but you just have to take it to Best Buy, basically. You can give them anything.
We did support that, I don't think last year, but we did support that.
Right. I mean, they're like, the department supports it, but we can't. Funds is uncertain.
Will they take the battery backup things, the strips that have the battery?
Yes, anything that they sell, they have to take.
Oh, okay.
Staples too, both of them will take those. They just won't take regular alkaline, like AA, AAA, like regular batteries, only like IKEA takes them, as far as I've been able to find.
Maybe the, Home Depot or Lowe's could do it too. I can't remember.
Oh, that's possible, right, exactly. They take certain things.
Right.
Because sometimes though they say it's just like rechargeable and car batteries and stuff, like not
Right.
regular batteries.
Right.
Because it's different chemicals. But right, otherwise, I mean, I think
Yeah,
that,
the rechargeables are lithium ion,
right,
in case you need to start a fire.
right, well, those are the ones that people make from
I know.
like things they buy on Amazon and then
Yeah.
shove inside housing and put in their e-bikes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Where'd it go?
Can we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I think those, we don't really this will be, more things to follow up next month if we have both of them at that meeting instead. And then priorities for next year, I mean, it kind of depends what they say a little bit too.
Right.
Some of these, like for the DEP things, like depending on what they mean by just contact directly for more information. that means it's happening, then we're not gonna ask for it.
Right.
You know, like, are they already doing the Spite and Dival combined sewer overflow?
That is funded,
Right, like, that's, like, so is that why? So it's just like we don't, so that's
Right.
that's part of, is that part of the Tibbetts Brook daylighting, or that's completely separate?
no, it's completely separate. Interesting, though, it's along the water, but it's completely separate. I mean, actually, I don't know why it's in the DEP. It should be in parks.
You're looking at number 13?
Yeah. Because it's further west, up the river, where the Tibbetts Brook will come out. In between the Spite and Dival and Marble Hill stations, they're saying, so like, you know, where the sea is.
Oh, I see. This is a new project.
Yeah, remember this? This was part of the, restoration of this, Spite and Dival. No, wait a minute.
But they have money to restore the pond, and maybe that's connected. And that went to parks.
Again, it's like, let's just see what Effie says about that, what they
Yeah.
mean.
Right.
We were proposing a new, yes, this was a new project for living shoreline. Yeah, I remember, we put a lot of time into this because it was at the outfall, it wasn't necessarily at Shorefront Park. And it was there's actually a direct discharge right there.
Okay.
Going right from Broadway into the,
It's not 056, it's actually right at the foot of, the buildings there. And, Crescent.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's
that's what we were
that'll be
talking
for
about.
another time. Could
We were
we move?
proposing a brand new project. So is this the right place to keep it then, because it's a new project and we would have to kind of open for them and invite them, and I think it's
Well,
very worthy because it actually is.
Let them tell us what they think.
Yeah, 'cause all of it just says, you know, promptly for more information, so it's like, maybe they've already thought about this.
is it a budget ask, though?
I think you have a good question, because
Right.
there's no project for it, it's actually a proposal we have for a funded project.
Right, but it would be good to get their input before you specify it, so that you specify to what they can do. I
So
mean,
we want to keep it there.
I think we talk to them, we see what Effie says about it first, and then, right, if you're right, if this is the wrong place to be asking for it, and that's what they have to say to us,
Right.
then we'll do it as a, you know, a proposal instead. Because exactly, that sounds, I mean, all of that sounds better than just dumping sewage into the water when it rains a lot. Especially when we sometimes get 6 inches of rain in a day now,
Oh, yeah,
not again for a while.
I hope not, because my basement when it does.
Right, exactly. So that's it. I mean, I think that we kind of have to continue the budget discussion until after we've spoken to both DEP and sanitation a little bit.
Yes. And if they
Does
can't
anyone have
come
any
to a
other
night,
new-
if they can't come to a night meeting, you could have the office ask those questions.
Right,
the
I mean, they
daytime.
acted like they could just next month.
Okay,
Yeah, there is
You
somebody
can
who
have a
comes to
green
evening
infrastructure
board
meeting.
meetings. There is someone, but
Lots of
giving them the questions in advance is terrific, you know. It structures.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's
and
what we figured, like with DEP,
That's
and then they
why
can
your
come back
list
with
is
what
invaluable.
it is for each thing. I think same for sanitation, is we ask them.
Are there any other comments on these items that we've already asked?
no,
I mean, I don't have any other questions yet.
No.
I like them because we did.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute. We remember, Carol, along the reservoir, the state of garbage and maintenance. Is there any construction maintenance? We have called in the past for more concession contracts to clean up waste, especially related to any construction along, because, you know, they're doing east wall construction and all. Is there any garbage issue you want to talk about there?
I mean, that's this, that's
Related-
expense number 20.
Yeah, are we gonna keep that?
I think so. I mean, they say this is another, that's contact agency directly and promptly for more information. So the question is, what if what they say is, we are increasing that, and we're gonna have one person walk all around the reservoir every day and sweep it? That would be better than maybe apparently what it is now. Because that's exactly that. Look, and then
Of your
maintenance
mouth to
contract for
God's
Jerome
ears.
Park Reservoir to pick up litter within DEP property. Specifically concerns to illegal dumping and littering. Because they're doing so much rehabilitation, they're doing so much construction around Jerome Park Reservoir. They obviously should be extra responsible for cleaning up because there's extra litter, because all the workers, they're gonna drink and then just throw their cups on the ground, even though obviously they shouldn't. They're gonna
All right,
produce
so
more litter.
I think we should amend our explanation,
This?
because it's not a access plan.
Again, that's a new.
I mean, it's
plan
kind of
we
two
have.
things.
Yeah, but
It's not relevant to access per se, that's a separate proposal. To just,
Right, because
make
this is,
sure
you
we
know,
do good housekeeping.
expand well,
It does,
I mean,
it doesn't really
it's
matter if,
related
Bob,
because it's,
it
I mean,
doesn't,
even
I
just access
object.
to walking around.
I object. It doesn't really matter if we change it. They're gonna come and talk to us about it anyhow. So let them come and talk to it, and then if we find out something, we'll do it then.
I mean, it's
Exactly, especially if
residentially
they already
too.
say one or the other, we can take one out of that. They're like, yes, 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 we'll pick up more litter, you know,
Okay, we
fine.
want that.
I assume someone complained about that.
We always do, yes.
Well, I mean, that
But-
there was even specifically.
But if you make
extra-
a second one now,
around
it's
there.
not, it's gonna end up at the end of the list. It'll be like number 38. And you
oh, I'm
won't
not
get,
saying add it, I'm just saying edit the explanation so that we make the access plan a separate proposal that we pursued through other channels than the budget.
Because really what it is we're saying they should spend more money cleaning up.
Just cleaning up, good housekeeping.
Allowing public access on like an open house in New York once a year, like someone was suggesting last time, is not a budget request necessarily.
I suggest that we do that when we do the next budget. Because it doesn't really
Right,
matter.
that's-
They're not gonna give us the access anyhow. They're gonna ignore that. Taking it out and doing something different is not gonna make it any different.
After 25 years, you figured that out, Karen?
Right.
Sorry, that's the ulterior motive to make it pedestrian worthy and attractive, obviously. But Carol, I just wanted to make sure there's no spillover into actual neighborhood of DEP construction, because there have been contractors that have really fouled the place.
Yes. I mean, for me, Sedgwick leading into Webb, where there's a whole bunch of development going on, and new buildings coming up, this is where the issue really is. Any of the buildings on Sedgwick, Webb, Claflin, where the developers are, there are no receptacles, so we're the ones getting littered, you know, they put it under the cars and, or in
Well, and that might
people's
be
driveways,
That
there's,
is a new request for next year's, more trash
New
cans.
request.
That's the new request. We have to get attention to that corridor.
Shouldn't
Um,
the, whatever construction outfit is doing the construction,
Trash
shouldn't
cans
they be
throughout the
responsible?
district.
They are, they're
You know,
required by
if
law.
they have dumpsters there,
no, they
and
don't.
their people should use them. They don't have a dumpster?
They have dumpsters,
limited
honestly,
experience.
maybe 1 week or a few days, and the dumpster gets filled, I would say within 2 to 3 days, because people start dumping their stuff. I've seen people's
Right, right,
TVs
I
in there
understand,
and
I understand.
Yeah.
yeah, their personal stuff, so, but the garbage is literally at the tree stump of like a house, like
Oh, for that, yes, for the work, yes.
it's just there. The coffee cups, the McDonald's, all of that, their lunch is there. I have seen them park in front of my house, eating in the minivan and putting it in the tree. Like when I rewind my cameras, I see them dumping it right where like, you know, my wrought iron is covering that tree in front of my house type of situation. It's used as
Yeah, you mentioned that.
garbage
yeah.
receptacle.
So-
And again, any place that there was a garbage on a corner, I do not know if sanitation changed any rules and regulations for residential areas, but now there are buildings beside homes. So now what change of law do we have again? I mean, if it was
But
something
would
where
you
we don't
say
have
that-
receptacles near homes, near private houses, that was one thing, but now that there's buildings beside private houses, what now?
Another bad actor constructed, a contractor, right?
Yeah,
No, but what she's saying is that what I believe she's saying is that the receptacles were placed based sparsely because there were single-family homes that are responsible for their own garbage. Now, there are multifamily units, and you may have 30 families in a building. So you have a lot more foot traffic going in and out of the building, and a lot more people
Yep.
eating something and throwing it away before they go in or when they first come out. They just, it's mind-boggling.
Well, right, and I think a good request for next year in some way is more trash cans, and we could specify certain corridors or areas that need them. I mean, other
More
corners,
pickups where they have buildings, they should be required to take the volume of trash that's away. Their pickups should be related to the volume of debris that is put out.
Right. They have to dump it more often, right?
Yeah.
and it's the newer trash cans, like we were talking in the last meeting. They have the newer trash cans, not the open trash cans. These are the ones where it's just, the
It's
smaller hole
Right.
that fit like everything in, which I think those are great. Or the one that you pull down and you can't fit everything in. They have them near the parks. I would say up to maybe 4 years ago, they had it where it was diagonal. It wasn't on every corner of a block that had residential, and maybe in the back of your home was a building. So they would put the garbage at the corner of the building, and then it will be diagonal at the other end of the other side of that that block, basically.
Right, right.
Now there's absolutely nothing, and there's schools, there's stores, there's bodegas that are nearby. I mean, there's foot
have you
traffic.
looked
And
on the map? Are there supposed to be trash cans at any of those places, maybe?
there used to be, and I don't know, though they were the older trash cans, like I've said, but nothing was ever replaced. Once they picked those up, they did not replace them with the new ones. They're not
Right,
there.
but I'm
And
saying that I've
people,
noticed a few times where the old ones, like, because they became so bad, they took them away. If it's still marked on sanitation's
there
map, if there's meant to be a trash can there, and you 311 it, like, they will come and put it back
I know there was.
without a question, because it's meant to be there.
Oh, I
think
could
we maybe need to
311
just
it.
do more- Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They emailed it, the whole group should have gotten that email last month. They said, someone sent around the link for it. There's a map of where trash cans are supposed to be.
We have
So
to
I'm
the
go-
gonna
ones are
look at that
missing, we
then,
could just
because
sit there
there
and
were
like,
two.
make
And-
a lot of 311s, because I've got a couple, but like, and they just reappeared. They closed my request being like, oh, there was a trash can there, and then suddenly a trash can appeared.
Right,
So I'm fine with that.
fine with that, right.
Okay.
Like a cat,
Yeah.
I meant to.
Oh, yeah,
pull
yeah,
off the
suddenly
top
a
of that,
brand,
yeah.
one of the new trash cans appears there.
Right.
But whatever, like you said, you got what you wanted.
Exactly, I wanted the trash
You don't
can on
have
that
to
corner,
argue
and now it's
about
there.
verbiage.
And then it's not an extra budget, because really it's meant to be there. It's just, it fell away because, right, maybe as you say, during construction, when they put up a fence or something, maybe they covered it or threw it, got rid of the can, and so of course then no one remembers to bring it back.
I mean, it's literally at the corner. There's nothing there. It's like it'll probably be where like there's a pedestrian walk cement thing where, it's like right there. They just picked it up and never replaced it. So I'll look at the document, but yeah, they've never replaced a lot of them. And the thing is this, people park in New York City. They have garbage in their car. That's another thing too. They're, everybody's just dumping. It's so heartbreaking to see like people dumping. I've seen like a man like take his coffee cup and throw it under his car. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is it just to bring it in your house and throw it away? It's heartbreaking, but yeah, it's,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
How are we doing with this?
That's it. I mean, if there's no one has any other new
Yep.
business.
Motion to
I just wanted
adjourn?
to follow up on some old business. So
Laura.
thank you, because, yeah, I got 2 things I gotta do, thank you. So, well, I just want to follow up, yes, we want to, thank you for asking me about the resolution, which you got, okay?
Right,
We
yeah.
didn't have a meeting, so we're gonna bring our MTA resolution to the full board in March, okay?
Yes.
So that was held over. And, you made me think about that nice offer we got from, John from DEP, who did say, yes, water system education would be a good thing, the DEP.
Right.
Yeah.
guy. So would you, like, tell us to do something about that? Like, appoint some people to report back, you know, in a month or two and say, what did you learn about DEP and working with big education program for Park Reservoir? Involve access.
Oh, I mean, isn't that what they're maybe gonna talk to us about? What if that's part of their, oh no, that was compost education.
Yeah,
Oh no, what if that's part of the,
but that's not really a budget conversation, that's more of
Right.
a policy conversation.
cause it's not just public access, you're right, it's not, it's
Yeah.
education.
So that's the hook we're using?
Using that in a good way, not in a clever, tricky way. But I would just like to make sure we don't lose that offer that he made, that we really, argued for a good half hour, that we should have some kind of starter relationship to, educate people about what the Jerome Park Reservoir does and why it's there, basically, leading to access eventually.
Right, I mean, but is that though, because then as we're saying with the
It's not
increasing
a
public,
budget issue, yeah.
it's not about, cause it'd be like make signs, or make a path, make a walkway
Well,
and.
once we got the parameters, then we can say, let's make a budget proposal for it.
I think I would just like to make sure we reach out to John personally. If anybody else thinks it's a good idea, I want to just drop that invitation to.
I think we could put that on our list. I would just like to say that I had pulled up the Tibbetts easement. And it says this, it has been certified, and it says at the bottom of this funny form, which I could send to you all, it says, public review timeline. On 2/20/24, the above listed application was certified as complete by the Department of City Planning. The period for community board review begins on 2/29/2024 and must be completed by 4/29/2024. So if that means,
So that will
if
be
that,
on the agenda for next month, yeah.
because if that has to be approved by the community board in April, in order to meet the criteria, we need to get them a resolution by the next month. And I don't know, is it going April 29th, 2024?
Is the
Okay,
last day,
so
so we're
it'll be
good.
after the board meeting, okay.
No, we're
Karen,
good,
is
but we
that the
only have
Euler-
one meeting, is the point.
Right.
Is that the application proper? Could you reread what we're commenting on?
In the
Easement.
matter of an application submitted by the DEP and DCAS pursuant to 197C of the New York City Charter, the acquisition of property located at block 3238, lots 50, 52, and 126, block 3245, lot 12, and block 3264, lot 20, to facilitate construction and maintenance of a closed conduit pipeline, Borough of the Bronx, Community Board Districts 7 and 8.
We're in favor of this, right?
Yes.
So
Sure.
it's easy for us
Is
to
that
do
Euler?
a very
Is it-
fast,
is it-
and vote on
Has
it
that
next
been
month
had-
and make sure we have a quorum.
Right.
Make sure we
Yeah,
have,
but
this is
has
something we've
any-
been wanting forever.
But is it gonna go
course.
to land use? The question is it going to land use first?
Has it been issued as a ULURP through DCP? That's the question. And you said it's coming.
Well, she said it's certified on the 20th.
It's approved.
197C is ULURP. 197C is a ULURP.
I believe this is going to go to land use if it's a ULURP. And I believe they will want input from this committee.
Do you want me to share, can I share the screen? You can look at
But
it?
Karen, we only have like 3 minutes and then we have to get to this other,
Okay.
just saying.
You're a co-host.
Now, I'm really glad that you brought that up. We could draft something we could draft something.
Can you see it?
and
Can you
share
see it?
Yeah.
with Chuck.
Okay, so this is it. this is the form. There's a whole bunch of stuff because it's in the Zap. All the documents are in the Zap. So the zoning application portal, and this one is here, and you just have to, there's probably a form to sign it. This is the important part, that it must be completed by April 20th.
I mean, this is on the recording.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
This is issued by DCP to the community board with the appropriate time parameters. We would probably be in a position to provide expertise and commentary to land use.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the chair would want to, because it's DCP, would go to land use.
Well, they may
Karen-
meet,
Community Board 7.
they may
They
meet
also get
before
to-
us. They may meet before us, you know?
We have
Right,
to get
Karen,
the
we
timing right.
saw this, and you notified them because they didn't have us in it. They had 7 in it and not us.
Right.
Is-
Right.
What? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna scoot in a minute.
Yes, me too. I gotta go.
Yeah, we have a conflict, unfortunately, that's why we're on Zoom, but this is really good. We'll make sure we get this, and, I wanna say good night to everybody, okay? But carry on,
Yes, good night. I will send it to you guys.
okay?
Okay, perfect. And I think we should write a letter in support of it to land use.
Yeah.
But-
That's a
And
good
if
idea.
you're talking to 7, anybody at Community Board 7, make sure they were aware of it so that it doesn't fall through the cracks.
I will send it to them also. I was
Thank
just
you.
talking to
Favor
them
of-
today.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, tell
right.
them what we're, yeah, with what we're
No,
gonna,
hold
Right.
on a minute, okay?
Okay.
Don't go
Right.
away, we're just
All
gonna
right.
discuss 1 minute. Okay.
this is
So,
good.
Okay.
there's been a lot of overlap
Bye-bye.
with, remember what happened with City of Yes? We had 4 resolutions on 1 city action, right? That was
Embarrassing. So I don't want us to have one resolution and land use to have another.
So I think making an advisory opinion, I would call it to land use is perfect, and we have the expertise for it.
We just have to get the calendar right.
Right.
When land use meets, when it goes to
Right.
the full board, when, then it meets within that area that you talked about of
Said it has to be by April 29th.
Okay, so it's after the board meets.
That'll be a year
The
old.
board meets, twice before that.
So we will have, but we do have April, so whatever, it has to be on land uses agenda in.
But the question is when it comes up on that land use too.
And we have to insist that it comes on land use in
March.
no, because we need time to comment. We
Right, so
won't
really
be-
April, we'd rather,
April,
yeah.
we want land use April, because then we would submit an opinion.
After our March meeting.
Yes, and hopefully land use will meet before the full board. You see, this is.
They always do.
They do.
Okay.
They're
They do,
meeting
yeah.
early in the month, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the first Tuesday or
Yeah,
whatever.
okay, good.
Yeah, okay, that's a good calendar.
So that's fine. So that'll all be fine.
Okay.
And we support it. So we should write a letter saying we support
We'll
it.
have something prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Beforehand, yeah, for the March meeting. What else do you want to do in March?
So that, talk to DEP and sanitation about all of the different responses from the budget directly, because they all were like, talk to us.
Okay.
So we'll talk to them
All right.
and go from there, more budget things. And,
I will give an update on
The
the
SWIP fight. So, because I was late, I didn't get a chance to
Okay.
announce that the DEP has approved the dewatering application, but the has not paid for it yet, so it's not in force. They're doing it anyway, which is a violation. This is one bad thing after another. And, the buildings are fighting with that's a private matter, okay? There are real foundation problems and a retaining wall shift.
right at the building next door.
yeah.
They showed
so
us photos.
My old building, it's just,
So then, we are still insisting on the stormwater management plan during and after construction.
Yes, and then you maybe saw, and we talked about this earlier,
you covered this, okay.
right, because Karen, they were talking about, because they sent this memo now attaching the letter that you had sent.
And then I added,
I sent some,
documents of demolition.
Right,
and-
yeah.
Okay, so she added that.
So hopefully we get a response,
Okay.
or
so
hopefully
she
they get a
covered
response.
that
Yeah, we
already?
talked about that earlier, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that's great, because we should not forget about it. We'll continue to talk about it
Okay,
until it gets better.
okay.
Now, the other buildings, are they seeking to like try to stop the construction or just to get compensated for like damages?
There's a division in the board, we're not on camera, right?
Yes, we are. We are.
Stop now, are we, does someone wanna,
Yeah, why don't we,
we done?
I make a motion to
Motion to
adjourn?
adjourn, yeah.
Okay.
Seconded? No quorum, so you can just end it.
Yeah, that's true.